Attention passionate Seattle, SEAHAWKS fans. Latest news, something big is happening in the NFC West and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Seattle Seahawks' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Seattle Seahawks fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with your FRINDS and Seattle, SEAHAWKS fans. Let's get to the news. Alright, folks, buckle up because today we have some fascinating developments that could shake up the entire NFC West, and more specifically, the Seattle Seahawks' quest for another Super Bowl appearance. Now, the Seahawks, as many of you know, have been quietly building something special. They've been strategic in their offseason moves, and one of the biggest headlines that's been circulating recently involves a potential blockbuster trade that could redefine their quarterback room and their entire strategy heading into the 2025 season. It's not just about adding a backup, no. This could be about bringing in someone who might challenge the current starter, a veteran who's been around the league, who's seen highs and lows, and who could bring a wealth of experience to the Pacific Northwest. And that player, folks, is Jameis Winston. Before we dive deeper into that, let's set the scene a little bit. The Seahawks made one of the most significant moves of the offseason by signing veteran quarterback Sam Darnold to a hefty 3-year deal worth a staggering $100 million. That's right, a huge investment for a player who's trying to prove he can be a franchise guy after bouncing around the league. Now, Darnold's signing was met with mixed reactions. Some saw it as a gamble, given his inconsistent past, but others believed that if he could replicate the form he showed last season with the Minnesota Vikings, the Seahawks could be looking at a real contender. And let's talk about that season because it was impressive, at least on paper. Darnold threw for over 300 yards, with 35 touchdowns and just 12 interceptions. Those are solid numbers, especially considering he led the Vikings to a 12-5 record and looked poised to be a key piece of their offense. But as we all know, football is a game of moments. And unfortunately, Darnold's season ended on a bit of a sour note when Minnesota was eliminated in the wildcard round of the playoffs. That's the story of many quarterbacks, though great regular seasons, but the playoff stage can be brutal. Now, with Darnold in the mix, the Seahawks are looking at a potentially stable starting quarterback. But here's where things get interesting. There's a lot of pressure on Darnold to perform and to justify that big contract. The Seahawks, despite having a solid core, are still searching for that perfect quarterback stability. The second option behind Darnold is a rookie, Jalen Milroe, who's got a lot to prove. The team might be content to roll with Milroe as the backup, but if the season doesn't start smoothly, or if Darnold struggles at any point, the Seahawks could be in the market for an upgrade. And that brings us to Jameis Winston. Now, Winston, as many of you know, has been a beloved figure in the NFL. He's known for his fiery personality, his big arm, and his ability to make plays that excite fans and frustrate coaches. Most recently, he signed with the New York Giants this offseason, but his role there isn't exactly set in stone. The Giants have multiple options at quarterback, including Russell Wilson, who's been penciled in as the starter, and rookie Jackson Dart, who's also vying for playing time. Winston's situation in New York is somewhat uncertain, and that could open the door for a potential trade. Why would the Seahawks be interested? Well, for starters, Winston's experience is invaluable. He's played in 12 games last season for the Cleveland Browns, with 7 starts, throwing for over 100 yards, with 13 touchdowns and 12 interceptions. Those numbers might not jump off the page, but it's his leadership, his ability to mentor young players, especially someone like Jalen Milroe, and his veteran presence that make him an intriguing option. Imagine having Winston as a backup to Darnold, someone who can step in if needed and provide stability, or even push Darnold to perform at his best. In fact, the Seahawks could see Winston as a perfect mentor, a veteran presence who knows how to handle the ups and downs of a season. And let's face it, in the NFL, injuries happen, struggles happen, and having a seasoned player like Winston can be the difference between a playoff berth and an early exit. Plus, his familiarity with different offensive systems and his competitive fire could inject some much-needed energy into the Seahawks' locker room. Now, don't forget, the Giants signed Winston this offseason, but their quarterback situation is still very fluid. With Russell Wilson penciled in as the starter, and Jackson Dart waiting in the wings, Winston's role is not set in stone. It's entirely possible that the Giants could decide to move him if they find a better option, or if they want to open up a spot for one of their younger quarterbacks. That's where the Seahawks could swoop in. Seattle has shown they're not afraid to make bold moves in the trade market, and acquiring Winston could be a strategic move to bolster their backup position. Think about it. Winston's familiarity with the NFL, his leadership qualities, and his ability to step in and perform in a pinch make him a valuable asset for Seattle. And with the team's current trajectory, they're looking to build a roster that can contend now, not just in a few years. Adding a veteran quarterback like Winston could provide that extra layer of security, especially as they develop Jalen Milroe and prepare for the season. Of course, there are questions about how well Winston would fit into the Seahawks' offensive scheme and whether he would accept a backup role. But given his competitive nature and his desire to continue playing at a high level, it's plausible that he'd see the Seahawks as an ideal landing spot, a team with a strong defense, talented playmakers, and a chance to make a serious push for the playoffs. Let's also consider the broader picture here. The NFC West is evolving rapidly. The San Francisco 49ers remain a powerhouse, the Los Angeles Rams are always dangerous when healthy, and the Arizona Cardinals are in a rebuilding phase but could still surprise us. For Seattle, this potential addition of Winston isn't just about filling a roster spot. It's about gaining a strategic advantage, a veteran voice that can help guide the team through the ups and downs of a grueling season. Now, for the fans who are wondering about the technical side, how would this trade even happen? Well, with Winston signed by the Giants, they have a bit of a trade chip on their hands. If the Seahawks were to make a move, it would likely involve draft picks or perhaps a player swap. But what matters most is that this kind of move could be a signal that Seattle is serious about contending and isn't afraid to make bold decisions. It's about building a roster that balances youth and experience, and Winston could be the perfect piece for that puzzle. Looking ahead, the Seahawks are still in a bit of a holding pattern, but the potential trade for Winston signals a proactive approach. It shows that they're not just content with the current roster, but are actively seeking ways to improve, especially behind the scenes. The quarterback position has always been crucial in the NFL, and having a reliable veteran like Winston on the roster could be the difference in tight games, especially in late-season playoff push scenarios. And let's not forget, Winston's personality and leadership could also uplift the entire team. His fiery competitive spirit can be contagious, and in a locker room that's hungry for success, that's exactly what you want. It's about adding a player who's been through the highs and lows and can help young players like Milroe develop faster, learn from Winston's experience, and elevate the team's overall mindset. So folks, this potential trade isn't just a rumor anymore. It's a strategic move that could redefine the Seahawks' season and perhaps even their future. The NFL is always full of surprises, and with the way Seattle is approaching this offseason, it's clear they're not just looking to compete, they're aiming to dominate. And if they manage to land someone like Jameis Winston, it could be the final piece in their puzzle to bring another Super Bowl trophy back to the Pacific Northwest. Now, as we wrap up, I want to emphasize that this is an evolving situation. The Seahawks are always looking for ways to improve, and with Winston's availability, we might see some rapid developments in the coming weeks. The NFC West is tightening up, and every move counts. For all the Seahawks fans out there, this is a story you'll want to follow closely because it might just be the beginning of a new chapter, one filled with excitement, resilience, and that relentless Seahawks spirit that we all love. Pause here just for a second. If you want the YouTube algorithm to keep recommending the latest Seattle Seahawks news to you, it's super important that you leave a like on this video. Go ahead, it's quick and it makes a big difference. Thank you. Now let us continue with the big reveal. And now, Seattle Seahawks fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on this? Do you think bringing in Jameis Winston makes sense? Would you be excited to see him in that Seahawks uniform, mentoring Milroe and competing for that backup spot? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters so much to us and to the Seahawks. And don't forget, I'll be back soon with more updates, so stay tuned for the latest Seahawks news because this offseason is just getting started, and the best is yet to come.